It's good to see all of you again. Just a reminder, tomorrow, Saturday, we'll have a noon briefing, and that will likely be the last unified media briefing we have, and then I imagine we will all go back to normal operations in terms of our contact with the media. Today, I'm joined as usual by Judge Hardy McCollum of Tuscaloosa County and also Sheriff Sexton of the Sheriff of Tuscaloosa County. Today, though, we're honored to have Art Faulkner, who's the Director of State EMA, who is here in Tuscaloosa, and so he's going to be available after Judge McCollum and Sheriff Sexton and I finish our reports to you to answer any questions, and in particular anything that you would like to talk about going on statewide. Let me go ahead and begin by giving you some numbers I know that you're all interested in. As of 8 a.m. this morning, we had 9 people still listed as missing. We have cleared 1,107 missing person cases, and we still remain at 41 fatalities. We have 12 search and rescue teams that are still working the various areas in the city and the county. As I talk about fire operations, please know that the city is in process of relocating its fire station in the Alberta area to J.C. Park, where the old J.C. Fairgrounds used to be, and we'll have more information coming on that next week. Today, debris removal teams working within the city of Tuscaloosa have gone through orientation, and I'd like to show a slide real quick to give you a sense of what we're asking residents within the recovery zones to be able to do. There is actually a correct way to get your debris to the curb to assist the debris removal process. If you can separate it by household garbage, construction debris, then vegetation debris, then household hazardous, then white goods, and then electronics, it will help us expedite the process of removing debris. We could have millions of cubic yards which will have to be processed in probably the next 6, 9, 12 months as we go through the cleanup efforts. We will be distributing this to you in the next few minutes via email. Actually, we stole this or borrowed this from the city of New Orleans, and we think it's an excellent way to show our citizens what the process will be about in the coming weeks ahead. Within the recovery zones tomorrow, we're going to have 4 drop-off locations for garbage. Those are going to be at Forest Lake Baptist Church, Winn-Dixie, the Locklear Dodge, and Bruno's. Last night, Tuscaloosa Police Department had 7 arrests for curfew violations. Just to give you an idea of the building that's already started, we have issued 109 business licenses to those wishing to do construction within the city of Tuscaloosa. Our volunteer services continue to go at a rapid pace. Yesterday, we delivered 845 MREs, 1,123 cases of water, 2,513 bags of ice, and 765 cases of tarps, and there's 7 tarps in each case. We are also ready to go with our volunteer registration system. This is a joint effort between the city and the county, being coordinated by our local EMA. Tomorrow, beginning at 8 a.m., the Volunteer Registration Center will open at the Maccabee Center, which is adjacent to VA Hospital. We want to encourage all groups that will have more than 50 people being involved that will be in the recovery zone. If they would like, they could go ahead and go to the Maccabee Center after noon today. And if they will bring a list of volunteers and driver's license for those volunteers, we can go ahead and have them pre-registered. I'm also excited to announce that Chief Anderson has allowed Sergeant Mason with the Tuscaloosa Police Department to assist Ms. Roberts in these efforts. I also want to encourage patience. Tomorrow, I imagine we're going to have hundreds, if not thousands, of people wanting to volunteer within the city of Tuscaloosa. This is our first time. There is no dry run, and so we encourage everyone to be patient as we begin the credentialing process. Please know that Judge McCollum and I and the local EMA believe that credentialing is absolutely essential to ensuring the health, safety, and welfare of the volunteers and allowing us to be strategic in placing these volunteers in areas where they can be of service. The debris companies that I mentioned earlier are started the process of segregating out the different materials that you see out there. And what we don't want to do is have the volunteers interfering with the segregation of the materials out in the recovery zone. FEMA continues to move forward at a very rapid pace and what I believe to be in a very effective pace. To date, within Tuscaloosa County, 7,238 applications for FEMA assistance have been received, and FEMA has already distributed back to applicants $11 million. So we're beginning to see the first round of FEMA assistance. That will continue. For those that are insured, the process will be much slower than those that are uninsured. And again, as Judge McCollum and I have said on a daily basis, the process that we're engaged in is long. There are going to be many hurdles between now and when we complete the recovery phase. But just know that all of us, regardless of whether we're with the city, the county, or the state, are making every effort we can to improve the lives of our citizens, and we will continue to do everything within our power to make sure that those who were hurt and those who were killed and those who were severely impacted on April 27th, that we honor them by rebuilding this city and this community better than it was before. Judge McCollum?
Thank you, Mayor. I think the Mayor has covered most all the points that needed to be covered. I will reiterate the necessity for folks to report damage. You need to call the 1-800-621-FEMA. I can't emphasize that enough. I even had calls this morning from two families that had damage but felt like they didn't need the assistance, but I assured them that we need it from the standpoint of a community to have them registered. So whether they get assistance or not from FEMA, they need to register. It's very, very important that they do so. Our debris removal has already begun. We are well in the process of getting it done. I'm glad the Mayor did this. I know in the rural areas it's a little more difficult because of the nature of the separation and all. A lot of folks will dispose of certain vegetations on their own property, as we all know, which is typical of in the rural parts of our community. We continue to work on and work with FEMA and the EMA to move forward with housing. One of the things I think that we all understand it's important is trying to get normalcy. Normalcy comes with housing. Electricity has been restored to most all areas of the county. There are some pockets that still remain. However, we will continue to place the proper emphasis to get as much restoration and normalcy as we can. We, again, FEMA is working very closely with our folks in trying to ensure that we get housing as quickly as possible. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Sheriff so he can give you the updates as it pertains to law enforcement. Sheriff?
Thanks, Judge. Search and rescue operations in Holt have been completed. Alabama Task Force 1 assets were reassigned back to the city to work with their needs. 20th Special Forces continues the air-ground search from basically the limits of Holt all the way to the county line. The air search has been completed. Now we're starting the ground search. They have brought in, as I said, the 20th Special Forces to be able to deal with that difficult terrain, so they will have the best of the best handling that. Traffic control points, and that should go on for probably the next 2 days. Traffic control points around Holt will continue today and through tonight with ID being required. At 7 a.m. tomorrow, we will open we will open Crescent Ridge Road for through traffic. We will, however, be making it a 2-lane transport area so that outside lanes can be used for construction purposes, for the debris and as the power company continues to work in that area. If we need to close the road, we will do so, especially as debris removal comes into that area. So it will continue to be a fluid situation. We are urging those who do not have business in the Holt community to please find an alternative route. The Holt Elementary School continues to be our incident command post. It is also one of the distribution points in the Holt area, as is the Soma Church. We will see, we had no significant arrests last night. Would like to remind people to please, as both the mayor and Judge McCollum have talked about, to make sure they use the volunteer registration process at the Maccabee Center. We will, as we move through the community tomorrow, be looking for the identification that the volunteers are supposed to have with them. We will continue a high presence in regard to securing property. I'd like to remind folks that even though these homes have been destroyed and items may be on the right-of-way, that is not permission to go up and take these items, that the items still belong to the property owner. So if we come across persons that are going through these, the damage or the debris, that is a theft charge. And we plan to continue a very strict compliance with that. So I thank you.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Governor Robert Bentley, it's an honor for me to join the mayor and the probate judge and the sheriff here today to have this press conference. I think this is the second time that I've been in Tuscaloosa since the storms last Wednesday night. I have two of my most senior field staff that are here working with the judge and with the mayor. They will be continuing to work here, and they are augmenting, getting additional staff in to assist the local EMA as needed. We will be here, as we will be throughout the state. The governor has instructed us that we need to make sure that we are prepared for the long haul, to not only be able to do what we did in the response phase, but to assist these locals in the recovery stage. Right now we have two priorities in the recovery phase. Number one priority, as has been mentioned, is debris removal. We have urged every county and every municipality to proceed forward with debris removal contracts. And as you've seen today, it is very evident that in your county and in your city here in Tuscaloosa that they are moving forward with that. The reason that debris removal is so important is because it is going to open the way to us being able to provide long-term temporary housing. Housing Task Force, made up of state and federal partners, met earlier this week. They have established plans for throughout the state, strike force teams that are in place to do assessments, to be readily available to put short-term housing where we need it, and then long-term temporary housing where we will need it in those areas. This short-term housing will be made up of various different options, and then we will move into a more long-term temporary housing where we can try to get people in there to get them back to some sort of normalcy to where they can start rebuilding and getting into a more permanent structure. The last thing is that I would like to reiterate what the judge said. I talked with Governor Bentley the other day, and I told the governor that our numbers were a little low on registrations. And he asked me why I thought that was. And I told him, and he agreed, that the people in the state of Alabama are a proud people. We're used to going out and we're used to helping people. We're used to being the ones that are going out and providing the help. And the governor said to me that he understood that and he thought that I was exactly right. But that what we needed to do is that we needed to make sure that everyone understands that this is not just about getting them help. This is about making sure that we get everyone here help. So just like the people that called Judge McCollum this morning and said, well, we don't really need the help. What we do is, what we need their help. We need them to call and register, even if they don't need assistance, even if they've got insurance, even if they just have minor damage. This is about making sure that we've identified everybody in the state of Alabama that has been affected by this storm. It will enable us as a state to prepare for the long-term recovery. And the sooner they do that, the better we will be able to do it. I cannot emphasize again, 1-800-621-FEMA, 1-800-621-3362. The federal government has come in here at the request of the governor. He requested the president to do it expedited. The president did. The FEMA administrator and the president both have been here. The FEMA administrator is again in the state